And welcome back to the first ever KMRE 88.3 FM on-air community pledge drive. I'm Suzanne Blaze. I'm a volunteer here at KMRE, and we are now live here at our new home at Whatcom Community College. It's beautiful. We love it. We're not in the basement anymore. If you're tuning in to hear your favorite Friday shows, well, you won't be hearing those today, but we will have special programming all day long that includes live interviews with folks who are doing great work in the community, trying to make Bellingham and Whatcom County a better place to live. If you want to donate, we would love to have that donation. Please give us a call at 360-398-6150. You can pay with a credit or debit card by calling us now, by going online to kmre.org, or you can go to the farmers market tomorrow where our volunteers will be out tabling and you can donate in person there. We do have a matching fund. The KMRE board ponied up about $1,500, so we will be matching donations until we get to that point. We've also got a great selection of donation gifts from local merchants. So if you donate during Pledge Drive weekend at a level of $45 or more, it means you get entered into a drawing for either a KMRE merchandise, such as a mug, a tote bag, or special limited edition Pledge Drive t-shirt, or an item from one of our local supporters, such as Cool Beans Coffee Stand in Bellingham. So they're this fabulous roadside coffee stand that I get coffee at practically every single morning. So thanks to Cool Beans for supporting us this Pledge Drive weekend. Our next studio guest for Pledge Drive weekend here is Sara O'Connor of Ferndale Community Services. So Sara, it's so nice to have you here live in our studio. I'm wondering, can you tell me a little bit more about Ferndale Community Services? What do you do, and are you part of the city?
Sure. So Ferndale Community Services is an independent nonprofit. We're located in Ferndale, and our mission is to serve Ferndale and North Whatcom County. So we're not part of the city, but we're really well supported by the city of Ferndale, and we appreciate the support that they give us.
Oh, that's fabulous. What kinds of things are you doing out in the community?
So we have 7 different community service programs that we operate for Ferndale and North Whatcom County. We run the Community Resource Center, which is located in Ferndale. We have an unhoused outreach program called Bridge to Services, which goes all over North County. We run the Community Garden in Ferndale. We run the Holiday Giving Store, which is a holiday gift giving program for families in the Ferndale School District. We have a disaster response program called the Volunteer Mobilization Center. We have an anti-racism program called Connect Ferndale, and we run the severe weather shelter in Ferndale as well. I think that's all of them.
Oh my gosh. How do all those things happen in one little organization?
I don't know, Suzanne. That's a great question. So our organization has been around for a long time, and I think the first program really started doing stuff for the community in 2001, and most of our programs were started by wonderful citizens who cared about their community and wanted to make a difference. And then we formed a board to help support that work and kind of do it collaboratively, and we were called the Ferndale Community Service Cooperative. And then about 3 years ago, we received a grant from the city of Ferndale, which helped us move from a cooperative model into a community center model. So now we're known as Ferndale Community Services, and all of those programs are under one umbrella. They're led by an executive director, which is me, but I certainly am not doing that on my own. I'm doing it with a team of employees and an army of volunteers who give their time and talents to make sure that all this work gets done for the community.
Yeah, that's amazing. What are the programs that you're most excited about that you see as moving the needle?
Yeah, so it's sometimes it doesn't feel like moving a needle. It feels like moving a boulder uphill. I think that we recognize that homelessness and housing are big issues that are facing all of Whatcom County. And I think that something that people need to realize is that homelessness is an issue in the county as well. We see it in Bellingham in a different way maybe than we see it in the county, but it is a real issue. And housing is a real issue. There's lots of people who are struggling to stay housed because rent is so expensive and it's so hard to access housing. So to me, this is a major issue that we see every day in our work. And so I'm really proud of the the work at the Resource Center to connect people to resources, to ensure that they're staying housed or they're getting connected to resources that can help them find housing. I'm super proud of the work of Bridge to Services, which is going out into the unhoused community directly and interfacing with people and letting them know that somebody cares about them and that we want to help them get connected to the resources that they need. I'm proud of every single program. There's just so much cool stuff going on all the time.
Right. No, I think that, the housing situation is got to be so challenging because there just isn't a ton of housing available.
Yes, there's a lack of housing, period, all kinds of housing. There's a major lack of affordable housing, and then accessing that housing is challenging, and accessing housing supports is challenging, partly because there are different doors to enter, and so knowing where those doors are is challenging, but also just the sheer number of people who need help. We have wonderful partners in other organizations across Whatcom County, like Opportunity Council, that are doing really great work in the community as well, and we recognize the just the load that they're carrying, that we all are in the work of supporting people, because so many people really need assistance and support right now.
Right. With 7 different programs that are housed under your leadership, how many people are you actually touching in the Ferndale area?
Yeah, so we do our best to estimate this. In our annual report from last year, we estimate that we served about 3,500 people across North Whatcom County, and that includes the 993 unique individuals who stepped foot inside the Resource Center last year. Right. It includes thousands of people that we see and touch in outreach, and it also includes the people that, if you're a family member and you're coming in to shop for clothing, for example, at our clothing bank, or getting hygiene items, we ask you how many people live in your household, and then we're counting up the total number of household people that are being impacted by the work we're doing too. And so we estimate about 3,500 people last year that we served.
Amazing.
Yeah. And
it's you and a team of how many mighty people?
Oh, my goodness gracious. So we have 6 employees altogether, which is fantastic. And then I don't even know really how many volunteers we have. I say we have at least 100 or volunteers. Wow. Because we have outreach volunteers. We have a really dedicated team at the Resource Center, and for our hygiene program, there's a lovely group of people that do holiday giving store every year. We've got folks in the garden. We've got the whole VMC group that does disaster response when that's needed. So there are a lot of people that are giving their time and talents to make sure that this all gets done.
Right. And do you have to live in Ferndale in order to access any of the programs?
Yeah, that's a great question. The only program that's really restrictive is the Holiday Giving Store. So we're focused on serving families that have children enrolled in the Ferndale School District. Our hygiene program is also sort of reserved for people who live in Ferndale or North County, because there are great hygiene supports in Bellingham. We will serve people who come in, but then we'll refer them to those other supports in town. But for the most part, everything else is just sort of like, at the Resource Center, if you walk in the door, we'll serve you. We don't necessarily care where you're from. So if any listener out there, if you need clothing for your children or for yourself, we have a clothing bank that is stocked with just an enormous amount of donated goods from our very generous community. It's more than we can handle. We share it with other organizations too. And so we really welcome anybody who needs clothing to walk in and get that. So yeah, for the most part, our programs are open, but really our focus, because we have so many great supports already in Bellingham, our focus is really making sure that we are supporting folks in the rural part of the county who maybe don't have access to the service in Bellingham. That's what our focus is.
Right. So tell me, what's your thoughts on community and how important community is to the work that you do?
Community is at the heart of everything that we do. So we are our community. We're members. Most of us that work or volunteer, obviously we live here. We're members of this community. And so we can't do any of the work without community. Also, the service users that use our resources, they're my neighbors, they're my community. And so we're doing this with each other and for each other and together. And that is really sort of at the heart of the way that we do this work, is by seeing each person we serve as our neighbor and as our distant family member. And so we want to serve them in that way. It's really important that when every person, for example, who has has an interaction with one of our outreach volunteers that they feel cared about. And every person who walks into our resource center, they feel like we care about them specifically and individually. Community is at the heart of everything we do. And we try to express that by just caring about people.
Right. And where do you see a community radio station like KMRE fitting into that scheme of things?
So, good question. I think community radio is important because what's happening at the local level is really important, and it impacts every one of us directly. I think that's something I've learned in my life. I spent a lot of time paying attention to like national politics and national news, for example, for many years. And now, honestly, I sort of care less about that. I care about it, but I really want to put time and energy into what's going on in my city and my county. I want to know who my elected officials are. I want to know what news is happening in my county because it affects me personally and immediately. And I think that a radio station like this helps to ensure that I have the information that I need to understand my community better. And for example, I'm here talking about a service that is offered right here in our county, and I appreciate the opportunity to do that. And I assume that your listeners also care about what's happening right here in their home. And without this radio station, there would be fewer opportunities for people to talk about what's happening and also to learn about what's happening. So small community radio is very important. And so listeners, please make a pledge. Get out your debit card. Get out your checkbook. Come to the farmers market tomorrow. Make a pledge because these folks are doing God's work in here and they need our support.
That's fabulous. Thank you so much, Sara. That was great. Thank you for coming and spending your time and talking to us a little bit more about what it is you do in the community. It's been fabulous. It's been great to have you here. We have one more studio interview coming up actually at 6 and another one right before 7. The one at 6 will be Sheriff Donnell Tanksley. So looking forward to that. Please stay tuned. And then before we get back to our music programming, we also want to remind you to call 360-398-6150 and pledge today, please. Any amount helps. Or you can send a check to P.O. Box 2723 at Bellingham, Washington 98227 or online at kmre.org. And now let's get back to the music.